Welcome back to Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Collectors community, everyone. I'm your host, Nico, and joining with me today, as always, is my co-host, Chris. How you doing, man?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Sorry, guys, if my voice is coming off a little hoarser than usual here today. I think I'm coming down with some sort of a head cold right now. It is flu season, so yeah. So my voice sounds a little scratchy. I feel like right now. So apologies, but I'll still be able to talk. You guys, you're not rid of me yet. Yeah, episode 54. First and foremost, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button there, the notification bell to be notified when these do drop. You can follow us on Instagram, Late Night Collectors Community, when we do make the posts when the episodes drop as well, to be notified that way. And hit us up in the comments if there's things that you're reading. Let us know what you thought, your own thoughts. And the books that we're going to be talking about today, spoiler warning, just be forewarned, we are going to be talking about what happens in the books. It's not a huge week this week. It's a very small week. It's one of those fifth weeks in a month, which, DC normally just puts out a few annuals, and Marvel's got a couple of like maybe big releases that they just bring out, on this week singly. So nothing like, some of our usual weeks. So between us, I think we got about 7 books, so a little smaller than usual. That's all good. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the comics for the week of November 30th, 2022. Just under the wire there. So yeah, and then as I mentioned, in December we'll be off a week, but we'll have a show that we're gonna be recording soon that we got to discuss, Chris, actually, and that'll be kind of us talking about like best ofs of the year and all that. So you'll still get a weekly episode, but between Christmas and New Year's, that'll be kind of dropping during that point in time. So all right. So without further ado, Chris, it's either that or I am having withdrawals from my weekend here. So I did crack a beer. I'm going to try to down this, see what happens.
Good for the throat, I think. Cheers.
That's what they say. Cheers. There you go.
All right. Well, it's a big week, so let's get to it. Let's talk comics.
Let's talk some comics. Okay. First up on the docket, we got Avengers Assemble #1. Bring up the art here for this one. You got the wraparound cover there, Chris?
Yeah, the wraparound. Isn't that the A cover? Or is that a special cover?
No, I think that's the A cover for this one. Yeah. I read this digitally. Chris has been following this, I guess, leading up to this event, and now I think is it going to be weekly between Avengers and Avengers Forever right now for the next like couple of months, Chris?
Well, maybe bi-weekly, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how it's coming out, but I'm down for this. This has been a long time coming, so this is a culmination of some big events there. And this first page you got up here. I don't know if this is something new, but it's kind of like some Valley of the Dead of all the dead sort of celestials or gods or whatever, and this seems to be where all the power in the universe comes from. Mm-hmm. So there's some interesting stuff going on in here. But of course, you have that tired trope when you got a bunch of heroes coming together that they can never just talk to each other. They got to start fighting for no reason, and the person that could stop it is incapacitated and can't speak.
Right.
So that was kind of lame, but it was fun to watch, I guess. But
yeah,
so lame.
I agree. There was a little bit of that, and yeah, I don't always love when that happens. But it's gonna happen in an event like this.
At least you get it out of the way early.
It's kind of
I get to see some of the people fight each other. It's fun seeing Odin there, I guess, and Thor. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a nice mix up there because they don't seem to get along, and I guess the young Odin or Thor, the young Odin versus the regular Thor nowadays. What was good there was with Valkyrie too, when she was kind of almost trying to grab Odin's hammer because there's 2 Mjolnirs there, so that's interesting there. But all these other fights were, whoever was fighting whoever, that was kind of cheesy there.
Yeah,
but I think it's basically just introducing all the characters to anybody that hasn't been following along with the story. Some nice big splash pages, so you can't go wrong with that. And I like the ending there where the Avengers Forever team that's been put together is sort of at the Watchtower waiting for everything. One of the downers was that Avenger Prime. There's been a lot of hype about him. I was expecting something, freaking over the top, not some guy just in a suit there. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be able to transform into something, awesome, but for his first appearance there, it was just like Joe Blow or something,
Yeah, he's like
just kind of lame.
Prime Avenger, just some guy with a helmet.
Yeah, just some guy that wears a suit. It looks like Loki or something,
I thought
I don't know if they reference as to who he was a variant of, or if he was a variant of anybody. But
Mhm.
they didn't really get to see his face because he kind of threw Thor's helmet on for whatever reason, which didn't seem to have any effect. But
Mhm.
meh, let's see how it goes, though. I'm still looking forward to this whole event.
I liked this. I thought it was good how they lined everybody up from all the different teams that they've been putting together this whole time. I didn't feel lost jumping in at this point, so don't be afraid to do so. Like Chris mentioned, it's just they're coming together and setting the playing field, and they fight a lot. But yeah, there's this was really cool. I thought the Star Brand Hulk when he like turned him into a ball, the like Ultimate Doom guy or whatever the
Yeah,
hell.
yeah, that the Doom Supreme.
Yeah, yeah, there he goes. And this is so there's like these bad guys, and then
Yeah,
there's
the. I
the
figure with they're fighting the people there, there'd be more of these multiversal masters of evil. They seem kind of weak compared to the group there that's already assembled, the prehistoric Avengers and the Avengers that are there.
yeah. Then you got all the Mephistos from all over the place as well.
Yeah,
Right? So that's kind of cool.
that's cool, dude. A lot of good stuff going on here. Like I said, it's kind of a lot of stuff coming together that's been either hinted at or thrown out there. So
I like the artist's work, Ryan Hitch. I like his stuff, so I was happy to see that they put somebody good on this Avengers Assemble. Like he's not going to be doing the whole event between the two books, but I did like this one, like him being on it. So yeah, it looks
yeah, I wasn't like blown away by the art or anything, but it still was. It's been better than other things I've seen. Avengers Forever,
right,
whatever, 12 or 11, and the brutal one that I was talking about last week.
right. So what'd you give this one?
I'd like to give it more, but I give maybe a 3.75, verging on a 3.5. Like it still was nothing special. I just want to get this story going on here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I agree with you. I have to also give it a 3.75, but mostly because, like you said, it was just a punch 'em up comic for the most part. And like on a week like this week that was so small, I really did want to give it a 4, but I'm like, realistically, it's not 4. So I
Yeah,
like,
like if they really want to push this, they could, once again, like I say, throw some freaking top talent in there or something, or because there's a bunch of splash pages that could have been, it could have had some great stuff going on, but it was still decent.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it though. Like I'm gonna read it as well with you. So yeah, so 3.75 out of 5 for that one. Next up, I guess another big release this week is Justice Society of America #1, written by Jeff Johns, art by Mikkel Janin. As you guys may recall, I wasn't really much looking forward to this after the lead-in of the Golden Age one-shot issue, as well as the conclusion of Flashpoint Beyond that kind of set some of those things in motion as well. But I gotta say, this wasn't bad. I did like this. I thought that again they had a good artist on it. I thought that it was fun. Like they had a bunch of like lower tier kind of characters, the ones that they highlighted at the end of like Flashpoint Beyond that were gonna be like probably shaping the DC universe or whatever. Like and there's some good action in this one, and it's basically the Huntress in the future, who's the Batman's daughter. I guess him and Catwoman give birth to her, but now she's the Huntress, but it's not the actual Huntress that we know from the comics. That I'm a little
Yeah,
confused by. I don't know
kind of
if
crazy that you take the Huntress name.
yeah, but they don't really explain it. They don't reference Huntress at all. Like they're not like she's taking the mantle or anything. Like I would
Yeah,
assume like they're still counting her, or maybe this is just like they're not including her like in this continuity. I'm not sure, um, but yeah, she's in the future, and then basically she puts together a new Justice Society of America with a bunch of those random people like Solomon Grundy and like Dr. Fate, who was on the team, but he got it's killed at the start of this. Like they're trying to figure out the mystery, like who killed him. And yeah, and they kind of just go from there. And by the end of the issue, she gets transported back to the past of the original Justice Society of America. So it was okay in terms of a setup. I didn't feel it was as bad or as confusing as the lead in was, but I think I've only pre-ordered up to the second issue, and I might just check it out in a trade paperback when it's all collected, because I did see in the new solicits they actually have updated this one as one of 12 now. So it's only going to be a 12 issue series. I think this might
yeah.
read better chunk, or I just might continue reading it digitally if it, the second issue continues to be enjoyable. But I have no reason to continue buying this one physically. And as you know, with the chop and block being ever present because we're trying to cut back, yeah, this is done. I think I only have the second one pre-ordered. So I'll give this a. I'll also give it a 3.75. I thought it again in terms of as far as setups go. For a series, I'm interested to see what happens next. So yeah. All right.
Nice.
Superman Kal-El returns #1.
Yeah, so I just read this one online. I've been kind of following the Action Comics Superman. So I just wanted to see what was going on here, and I'm glad I didn't buy this. It's a nice cover there. I got some nice artists listed up there, but the first story was just baloney. We got Superman and Batman there. They're freaking hugging, and I think Batman ends up making Superman breakfast or something. Like, come on. Aren't these guys at each other's throats that every time they see each other, they're kind of not trusting, and here they're kind of coming along as best friends? I don't know. I didn't buy that story. And then the second story wasn't much better. It was like Jimmy Olsen, Superman's pal. Yeah, garbage. But
Yeah.
yeah, this one was more of I guess, a classic type of Superman story. Once again, the great art there didn't help enhance the story at all.
It's funny when I put this together. I'm like, oh, Chris isn't gonna like this because it looks very cartoony to me. I'm like, yeah,
But
this is
it was the cartoony story, so I guess it doesn't matter.
yeah. But I knew
But
you.
like I say, I'm not a big fan of Jimmy Olsen or this time of Superman there, and I don't know. Then there's another story, I guess, with Lois. It's basically when he came back and he's kind of just meeting everybody. I think there's one story where he goes back to the Justice League and he's taught, or to the Justice League, and he's kind of just saying hello to everybody there. Like, this story's a little decent. He's got some decent art there. And then I think at the end is where he gets sucked up by Pariah. So this kind of leads into the Dark Crisis. And I don't know. It's basically like, it was like the old time Secret Wars where it's just a regular issue, and in the last page he just disappears, like he's flying out and disappears, and there's sort of no lead into it. So it was nothing special. I'm glad I didn't buy it, and I wouldn't recommend buying it. I'd give it a 3.25, and especially since this is probably an overpriced one shot too, because it's oversized. So he's probably paying a little extra for these baloney stories.
Right. Yeah. Well, there you go. I am looking forward to the new Superman series, though. Actually, I'm going to check that one out.
Well, I'm looking forward to the new Action Comics. I think at 1050 they're going to start a new format, or 1051. We'll see how it goes.
I just noticed I actually didn't throw up the art for whatever reason for Justice Society of America. I don't think so. Let me just quickly flip through this, just if you guys are interested in taking a look. I did have it prepared. Yeah, there's the Huntress, Solomon Grundy. Got some other people there. Yeah, and there's like the
Power Girl in there. It's not too bad.
Yeah, the art's good. I like Mikkel Jenner, and I think he's done a lot of things I enjoy. So I was happy to see him on the book. And then you got Rip Time Hunter, who comes in and fucks everything up like usual. Yeah. So, and then this is her catching the orb and getting transported back to the 1940, I guess, for the original JSA. So, all right.
And speaking of these Superman one shots, I think I don't know if it came out, but there's that 30th anniversary of Superman's death.
Mm-hmm. I think it got pushed back. It was supposed to come out a couple of weeks ago, and then it didn't. We didn't get.
Okay, yeah, that's why I didn't because I know I think I've read the digital copy, but I haven't I did order it, and it never showed up on my LCS.
Either a bunch.
But reading the digital copy, it wasn't a bad story. It's sort of like an outside take of other people while he was fighting Doomsday. Or no, there was a new Doomsday or something, like some construction worker, that was cleaning up after Doomsday found one of his bones or something, and that bone sort of infected him and turned him into a new Doomsday or something. So it wasn't too bad.
Okay, yeah, maybe they're floating around online, but or LCSs were just shorter on it because we didn't. The one I go to didn't get it either, so I don't know what that's all about because I either got pushed back or some stores got it, some didn't. Not sure about that one, but yeah, it's
and if I don't get it from my LCS, I told the guy it's no big deal one way or the other. I thought it was just a cool cover there. I think it came polybagged with the flag or whatever, with the Superman cape blowing in the wind.
But it's like a $10 comic or something.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not too heartbroken that they didn't get it for me.
Right. Okay, next up we got Nightwing Annual 2022. This is not the cover I ordered. I got the wrong cover for my LCS. This is highlighting. I don't know, I guess Is Cardiac his name? I don't think that's his name. Is another guy from Spider-Man. Heartless
I
is
know, but then he rips out people's hearts here, doesn't he? This guy.
Heartless. Heartless is his name. You said
Okay,
Cardiac,
heartless.
and it threw me off. Yeah, okay. No, Cardiac's from Spider-Man. That is a character. That's why I was like,
Yeah, that's not an A+ rogue gallery there.
oh, well, that guy, no. Um, I like this Heartless character though. Yeah, this annual wasn't bad. I mean, the first story had 3 stories in it. The first one was written by Tom Taylor, and it was kind of like the origin of Heartless. Like similarly to Bruce, he kind of grew up with like a guy, although he wasn't actually a butler. It was like some sort of killer that was on the lam, and he like posed as a butler to get a
Yeah,
job.
he was trying to steal somebody's identity, I guess, to escape whatever he was doing.
It was weirdly dark though, because then he was just like, he saw like the kid, he caught him in one of those like serial killer acts where he kills a small animal, and he's like, oh, this kid, he's got
Yeah,
it in
he's
him,
got
right?
the shine.
Right. So then he takes him to see like pigs get slaughtered, and he takes him to like go like watch like some other shit that's kind of gruesome to see if he reacts, and like nothing, like no
Yeah,
react. Then which is like, like that's straight up serial killer like type type shit, right? Like no emotion, right? So but then he took him to the circus, and this kid actually witnessed Dick Grayson's Haley Circus parents get killed, and that's what sparked this, like, you know what I mean, this killer.
kind of brought him out of his shell.
And then he ends up killing his parents, and then the butler becomes the adoptive father sort of this kid, like the guardian. So
Yeah, and
it's,
he had like billionaire parents too, or something as well.
yeah, so it's kind of weird, but I kind of liked it. I thought it was interesting. And then by the end of it, they show that he's transplanting like her Blockbuster's heart that he just ripped out at the end of the last arc into his own body, and he's like, it's like the heart is like, because Blockbuster is huge.
Yeah,
So the heart's like huge too. I don't know, man. I liked it. I thought that story was good. Sorry, man.
yeah.
But yeah. And then again, you can tell I'm off here. Yeah. So here, this is him killing the animal, and then that was the first story, anyways, written by Tom Taylor. And then the other 2 were okay. They weren't as good. It was like the second one was like a cutesy one about Bitewing the dog, about him
Oh
imagining.
yeah, with him kind of imagining being the hero or something.
Yeah, it was one of those things where they're like, "Oh, I wonder what goes on in his head," because he's always
Yeah,
ripping up the apartment, right? And then it's like he's mad. Okay, whatever. It's cutesy, and yeah. See, this is him fucking putting the heart in him. So I guess there's big things coming for this guy. And then yeah, this was the dog one here, and this was by a different writer. And I guess past 100, they're gonna start having a backup now in Nightwing, so they're gonna be charging $1 more. So I'm not too happy about that, because one of the writers was the guy that wrote the last story here, which again was fine. I didn't mind it, but yeah, this is the dog here. And then this one was kind of Nightwing.
oh yeah, teaching Superman or Superboy
Yeah, his
or
son
whatever.
John. Yeah, he was teaching him the kind of the ropes, but it's Superman, so he's just like, I can't really teach you to like, like the place you should be, because you're way stronger than I am, right? And
Yeah,
he's trying to teach him discipline, if anything, and like to continue to do things over and over again, because like Bruce used to tell him, you have to do things like 10,000 times, like one of those type of things, right? So to get it perfect. So it was all
yeah. But
right.
the good thing about this story here is where Nightwing's always kind of trying to teach people to protect themselves, but he's got to basically teach Superboy to help protect the enemies there. Because if he ever lets go, or if he punches too hard,
Right.
that person's finished.
Right.
So I think that was a good. I think that was a good twist. But that first story, I'm getting tired of all this kind of, where it's such a small town that when everything happens, this kid saw Nick or whatever, Dick Grayson's family die, and he ends up going to the same high school as Dick Grayson. Now they're both, he's the hero, and that's the big enemy in Bloodhaven. That's just too much coincidence in this small little world that they live in. Like how these people always running into each other and then not knowing each other. If they went to school together, when you see him when he's older, hey buddy,
I
I
don't
went to grade school with you, man. Chill out.
I agree with you, because like he really pushed the boundaries of how fucking weird of a choice that is. And even the thing about the butler, like the guy who posed against the butler, and like, that was, but like, I don't know, it worked for me. It
Yeah,
was,
like it's a decent story, but it's just
yeah, it
they're
was so,
relying on a tired troop again. I'm using that word too many times, I guess.
yeah. I mean, that is a lot of comics these days,
Yeah.
unfortunately. right? Big two stuff, especially, right? So, so what'd you give this one?
I don't know. I think I'll give it a 3.75. It's better than an average comic, that's for sure.
I agree. I think for something that had 3 stories, I'm also going to give it a 3.75 out of 5. So yeah, as you can tell, that's the bar to beat at this point for the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it was all right. I don't think it was as good as a singular issue of the series has been lately, but I think for an annual, it wasn't complete trash, which is
Yeah.
some of them are, right?
Yeah,
So
which is basically what I expect from every annual I get.
right. So there you go. So next up, we got Exterminators 3. Whew, the art on this book, man.
Oof, there we go.
I'm loving the art on this book. I need to really pick this up. Every time I put the
Very
art
good stuff.
together, yeah, sure is. Cheesecake Central in this fucking one. Jesus Christ.
Well, they warn you in the first page,
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
and finally a warning that sort of matches the tone of the book.
Yeah.
One thing I still don't get, because basically they're in front of the Quiet Council retelling their story. Why does the Quiet Council have them all wrapped up like in the vines with their hands behind their back?
It's
Like
bonding.
they're still X-Men, and like they should have some sort of trust in them that they can, they don't have to be bound. Not that I mind in the pictures, but
Yeah.
and why are they wearing Halloween costumes while they're bound? Like one's dressed as Sailor Moon. But
Yeah.
anyway, that maybe that'll be revealed later on. But as for the story and the art still I think it matches the tone of this comic perfectly. Because even like the writer, it's a bit of a cheesecakey writer. They kind of make fun of I guess each other in there. Like doesn't have Jubilee's like punching her. She uses her Jubilee powers to get a vampire off Boom Boom, or is it Tabitha? Then ends up burning her chest or something, and then she's complaining about that. Then he ends up giving her a titty punch or something. But I think it's all good fun, and this is one of the unexpected surprise series that I'm enjoying.
This page, man.
Yeah,
And it's nice too because um it's a female writer who's writing this too, so she's really leaning into it, right? Like kind of like this whole the cheesecakeiness of the story.
and I
But
don't find that it's over the top though either.
no,
Like,
no, of course not. No, it seems fun. That's what I mean. Like I can tell it's a fun book. It's not like degrading. Like you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like so, at least again, I'm not reading this, but from what I've seen and it putting the art together and what you've talked about, I don't think it's that right. So I think it's just a fun book, right? I just love the artist. I think the artist is great on this.
yeah.
Yeah. So what'd you give this one?
Um, I'll push this up to a 4, like a 3.75 to a 4. The big collector at the end. Yeah, I thought that was somebody else, but
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Nice. Okay, next up we got Strange Academy Finals number 2. Um, this was like a cleanup issue, and they also cleaned up in it. It actually worked on two fronts in that sense. This is the academy is finally back together. They kind of left the school at the end of the last series, and when this finals one started back up, the faculty kind of had to get them back there and apologize for some of the things that went down and maybe how some of the decisions that they had made and how the school was run. And then they basically say, well, like we got to clean this place up though. All the mindless ones have left now. And in the once they used to clean this place up, and after everything that went down here, this place is a mess. So they literally were just asking for the help of the academy kids. They literally just put them to work, and then they end up having to clean all like the different rooms in the school and the academy. So yeah, it was just like one of those fun like hangout issues where not much happens and they're able to catch up and bring the story back to kind of a new direction. And one of the loose threads of the last one was this guy who had left the school. There's one student that hasn't come back, and he's the kid that's off selling these drugs that give you magical powers, like essentially. And they treat it as such, like he's like a drug dealer and stuff. And the bad guy is Gas Lamp or Gaslight or something like that, which I guess is aptly named, I'm sure for a certain reason. But I think the writer who writes this though, like, I mean, the art's great too. It's awesome. And the writer, Scotty Young, like he actually, I think like he does a good job of writing kids that are like this age. Like a lot of the lingo Like, it doesn't sound like an old man just trying to write dialogue for kids, like, teenagers. Like, I think he does a pretty good job. And they're not walking around saying it's lit, but there's things like of that nature, like I think
Yeah.
similarly, in this book. And at least to me, it comes off pretty authentic. Like, he has kids that I know of, so maybe that's why. But yeah, I just really thought this was a good issue. I thought the first issue with his finals, there was a lot still going on. And with this one, I think it's getting good again. So it's off to another interesting direction. So I give this one a 4. I thought it was a pretty solid issue. So look forward to more.
All right, bet.
Yeah, exactly.
Did I use that properly?
You did. All right. And then finally, speaking of Strange, we got Strange number 8, which I think ends with issue 10. I don't
Well, the series ends at 10.
think so, or at least it's taken a
Okay,
month.
nice.
Maybe they're taking a month off because I didn't see an issue 11 in the newest solicitations, actually. So sometimes they tend to do that too. They'll take a month off for whatever reason, but like, I don't know. It feels like it's coming to some sort of a conclusion. If they just want to tell this return story of Clea as the Sorcerer Supreme with the Doctor Strange, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So, anyways, what do you think of this, Chris?
Well, I think it's an issue where they're just basically explaining the blasphemy cartel. If I was into the whole history of them, I think it might be a bit more interesting. But I still found it reasonably entertaining. With they're talking about Shield and the breakdown of Wand, whatever that meant. I think it's an acronym for something. So like there's more of a kind of historical episode or historical issue there to kind of catch you up to speed. I did like the scenes with Strange coming back to everybody in the Sanctum Sanctorum there. Everybody's happy to see him again. And then they always kind of pull the strings there that him and Clea can't even touch each other, or else catastrophe would ensue because one is a
Right.
hero of the light and one's the hero of death.
Mhm.
But it looks like they're hell bent on changing that. So we'll see how it goes. And like that interesting with the nun character, or I forget what he calls himself now. Agent Director Nun, is it that what he is?
Yeah.
The guy with no face. I think that's a fun, I guess, idea that they're running with. So that's interesting to see.
I dig all the blasphemy cartel stuff. I think it's I again in like you just said, I think that character's cool. The only thing I didn't love about this is how this was definitely one of those issues where it's just like, let's explain this whole issue, this whole other history of shit that was going on behind the scenes that we've never given you any indication of up to this point.
Yeah.
I don't love when they do that always.
Yeah, when they say, "Oh, back in Secret Invasion" or something, that this has been running in the background when it really wasn't.
I always find it more impressive where they plant something during the current storyline that they circle back to
Yeah.
in Prince. And then you could be like, oh, okay, that kind of got all tied up nicely. Instead of like, here's a bunch of shit like you guys would have never seen coming because maybe the writer just didn't have like and don't get me wrong, it was told fine. And like, I got everything used. And yeah, Wand is like the magic shield. I got all that. But yeah, I just don't love when they do that necessarily. So I kind of was like, I wish we had some indication of all this other shit prior to like this woman showing up and explaining this whole.
Yeah, the writer came up with this idea this year, and then I can pull it back to this, and it still would, make sense, or it wouldn't throw things
Right.
Upside down if I said this.
Right.
But
so,
but at least does give the blasphemy cartel a bit more weight, because when they first showed up, I thought they're kind of interesting there. But where's this sort of army of magic coming from? And it makes sense that they come from Wand, or that it's some secret secret branch of Shield.
Yeah, for that reason, I'm really looking forward to the next issue now that they've explained all this stuff, like what's going to happen with these characters. And then again, like I said, if 10 is the end of it, I think it seems like it's coming to a fitting conclusion. So I guess we'll see. But
yeah, I'm happy this ends at 10 or 12. I'm sure it'd have been on my chopping block sooner or later once Strange either becomes Doctor Strange again, which I imagine is the end game of the series, or and I'm happy with Clea though. I don't think she's an interesting character, and she's had some good. They've had some good issues with this,
Yeah, we've enjoyed this series. Yeah, so what'd you give this one then?
I'll give it a 3.752. It was decent.
I'll give it a little less. I'll give it 3.5 this one, just because, like I said, that one caveat I said about the story. like how they did it, right?
Yeah.
But that's just me being backseat driver on it. Like, what do you know about writing? I would have did it this way, right? Like, so
Yeah.
it's like, what do I know, right? But I just like,
It's hard to say. I only have like 3 or 4 comics to read, so
yeah,
maybe they seem better when you only get 3 or 4 of them to read. When you got a whole bunch to read, you can kind of, when you get something really good, it makes the really mediocre ones worse. You know what I mean?
that's right. Yeah. All right. So what are we picking up next week? Next week, though, although this one is such a small week, is a big week for me.
You might have to go through yours. I forgot to put everything together, but I guess if you've been following along, got a pretty good idea what I'll be buying. But I'll kind of echo
Sure.
off yours there.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, because I got a big one next week. So let me just pull mine up. Seems like they all came out next week is instead of this 5th week, right? Rightly so. So okay. Next week, which is December 7th. Batman 130.
Yeah.
Batman and Joker Deadly Duo, number 2.
Okay.
Gotham City Year 1, number 3. Daredevil 6.
Yep.
Dark Web, number 1.
Yep.
Do a Powerbomb, number 7.
Probably read it though. Oh,
Yeah.
that's where you're fighting God.
Yeah, that's the
Nice.
conclusion.
Or Jesus or whoever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the conclusion. That's the conclusion of the series next week. So, Fantastic Four, number 2. Immortal
Nope.
X-Men, number 9.
Maybe.
Kea, number 3. Punisher, 8. Spider-Man, 3.
Yep.
Oh, this Thanos Death Notes.
Oh yeah, I'm getting that. That's for sure.
And then we got Thor 29 with the new writer for the current arc with
Yeah. Fuck, Thor and Hulk. Woof.
yeah. Well, actually, so at least in the solicits, Donny Cates is coming back with issue 33 or 32. So I think they're
Well, he's
just
still around for Thor, but Hulk, he's gone, or
he's gone. Yeah, we talked about it last week. Donny Cates
yeah,
is as of like I think the next issue is not co-writing it.
yeah,
And
he's
yeah,
hands off. 'Cause I think right now he's pretty much hands off, but I think they're still following the outline he put out there. Maybe.
yeah, the artist that was doing the book with him on Hulk
Yeah.
is complete the current arc, the Hulk Planet one, and then
Yeah.
he's leaving the book as well. So I'm probably gonna be dropping it in physical issues because I'm like, I don't know, I'm gonna read it though. I'm gonna read it digitally, but I do,
Yeah. I'll see where they go with the new
yeah,
story, but he's left them. He's left Hulk freaking out in the middle of nowhere. It's gonna be hard to bring him back, or
I know,
someone's gonna come up with some good ideas for him wherever he is.
yeah, I know. So, yeah, so that's a little disappointing, but Thor, he's still on. He's coming back in like 2 issues or 3 issues or something like that. He's with a new arc, so
Okay.
there's hope. There is hope for Thor at least because like, he built up a lot of stuff in Thor too, even more.
No, yeah, like I've been reading some of the old Thor stuff, and that's
Yeah,
like, Thor's almost been like a Marvel team up comic recently because just reading the old stuff, then he become like a Herald of Galactus one time, and
yeah.
I don't know, there's been a lot. Like there's always something going on with some other big hero. Now he's like, it's Venom,
He's been doing a
then
lot.
Banner War with Hulk.
Well, that's what good about the Thor book because he made a lot of cosmic stuff involved in it,
Yeah,
right? And he actually tied in story from like the other things he wrote prior to Thor, like Silver Surfer Black and
yeah,
what he did Venom before. So like there's things that traveled into his new story as well from those other books that he wrote. So yeah, Thor's been great. So I hope he comes back to it, quite honestly. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But it
yeah.
looks like
I think I think the current arc with Venom, I think that might be over now.
yeah.
Isn't it something like they're fighting Thor's daughter or something, or they're looking for something? That one looks kind of.
That might be next week's issue, and then I think the 2 issues after that is the Thanos issues.
Yeah, those are the ones I'm looking forward to. But it sounds like this little filler story. It's kind of.
So the Thanos ones after those 2 issues with Thanos, it's gonna lead right into him coming back to the book. So I'm gonna stick around.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll be down for that for sure.
Unfortunately, the person who's writing it is the person that wrote like the Mighty Thor Valkyrie book and some other things I haven't really liked that she's written. So we'll see about that. But
Yeah, 2 issues I can swing that.
yeah. All right. So, well, that's it for all the books we want to talk about this week. What we're picking up next week, guys. A little shorter of an episode this week, but that's okay. We'll be back with another big one next week, as you can tell. A big week, I'm sure, for Chris as well.
Yeah.
Our favorite book of the week, though, Chris. You know, I'm surprised. I got to give it to Strange Academy Finals just because I think it did the best job of as a single issue story in this one. So I'm gonna give it up to that one. I thought that
Although
was
I really did like Exterminators, I'm gonna have to go with Avengers Assemble. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and this
yeah,
is a storyline that's been years in the making. Like even when I think you gave me those. What's that? The Heroes Return or the Heroes?
yeah,
Like even then this was hinted at with all those with Mephisto doing things. So
yeah.
it's a big story that's been a long time in the making. So you gotta see where this goes. And then after all this stuff is done, I might be dropping Avengers and hopefully Avengers Forever. So I'm
So
looking forward to dropping
about
all that stuff too.
about that though, like when he talked about the fact that he hasn't been working on anything lately, uh,
Oh, exactly.
there is
Sorry.
rumors. There is rumors that Donny Cates might be the new writer post Jason Aaron. So if he comes to the book, I'll be picking him
Yeah.
up.
Well, if he comes, yeah, then I'm sticking around for sure.
Yeah, but I agree with you. If it wasn't for Strange Academy unsuspectedly for me this week, I would have given it to Avengers Assemble as well. I liked it for what it was.
Yeah.
It just, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the next issue of that series as well. So yeah, I mean, I read 50 issues of the Jason Aaron run plus the Heroes Return. Like I just kind of jumped off the book for Avengers Forever, and I guess the last 10 or so issue, whatever. Like I did probably
Yeah,
at
I
least.
think he might have jumped off during that the World War She-Hulk or something,
Yes,
which wasn't the greatest.
yes, that's where
And
it's
then
exactly.
after that, well, even still now, it hasn't really been an Avengers book. It's the Avengers floating through time, running into all these variants, where they're kind of just there might be the first page or there might be the last page. So it hasn't really been an Avengers book recently. So I'm looking forward to getting back to being an Avengers book, especially if Donny Cates is coming on board as a writer.
I mean, it's not confirmed yet, but it makes perfect sense that they would put like they always try to put a big gun writer that's working for Marvel on Avengers. Like
Yeah,
before that, it was Jonathan Hickman, then it was Jason Aaron. So like it makes perfect sense to me that they would put Donny Cates on this, honestly. So especially because like he's been chilling out and focusing on
yeah,
some shit in his life. So if he's gonna come back swinging and put him on Avengers, I'm okay with that, man.
yeah.
So
I imagine we had something big going on somewhere else. That'd be already in the solicitations coming out in the next few months
right.
if he's wrapping all this stuff up.
But I mean, the issues of Avengers, all the crossover Avengers stuff, though, the most recent solicits that came out, it's still going on at that
Yeah,
point. So we haven't seen either next month or the month after. It'll be revealed who's the writer on Avengers because I'm sure they're not going to leave a gap of not
yeah.
having an Avengers book on the stands, right? So probably in the next month or two, we're going to find out, right? So,
All
um,
right. Well, something to look forward to in the new year.
yeah, exactly. You imagine it's like fucking like Chip Zdarsky or something like that. Like I'd be like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like it just seems like I mean, not that again, I wouldn't be disappointed in that, but I just think like the guy's writing Batman, he's writing Daredevil, like he's
Yeah,
working.
enough already. Like I know you're doing great stuff out there, but we need different writers with different ideas.
I would give I wouldn't mind actually also Jed McKay. Jed McKay was
But he's
writing.
out there doing a ton of stuff too now, Jed McKay.
He's been doing, more and more, it seems like lately, right? I mean, like, yeah, he started off on Black Cat and stuff, but he did the Strange book and then he did some other stuff. I feel like I'm forgetting right now that we talked about that we really enjoyed here. So like, yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad at that either, but I think like Donny Cates would be better, I think, over him, and so would yeah, even Zdarsky, but I can't see him doing that because
no, he's got his plate full already. I think.
yeah, I think so. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Once again, make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button. We will see you guys next week. Chris, thank you as always. And
All right, thank you.
guys next time.